Secure's and Price for Thursday, November 6, 2025, a presentation of Bet365. We're coming to you from the Pacific Toyota Dealer Studio here at the Wall Center, the historic Wall Center, that is. Visit shoptoyota.ca or visit your local Pacific Toyota dealer. Matt Sekeres with Blake Price, four-time Juno Award winner.
And Whammy Award winner.
And one-time Whammy Award winner for Producer of the Year. Mike Rogerson. We learned he is Vancouver's most interesting man. We are learning more and more about Mike, and that was a new one today. He doesn't brag.
It's a
heavy metal award.
Heavy metal award, yeah. For those of you that
don't follow the Whammies,
have big hair and
who got robbed at the Whammies this year. It's a great name, though. I will give it that. It's perfect for a genre. He's conducting things, hitting switches alongside intern Hayden Stewart. We hear from Hayden today. Big show for you. And yes, we're both wearing collared shirts, and nobody is wearing a baseball cap today.
You wanted to note that?
Well, because the chat often notes that. Mike tells me the chat notes that when we are looking a little bit dressier than usual. We have a business meeting today, so it was time to freshen up. So I put on one of my best shirts, and Blake's changing before the meeting. The Redwoods Golf Course poll question today.
This is about as dressed up as I get. Doesn't get any better than this.
I had to go to a wedding back east in September, and I hadn't worn a suit, Blake, and I don't know how long, and believe it or not, I outgrew the suit. And then I started looking for ties, and I'm like, oh, my God, I can't even find. We just don't get suit and tie dressed here on the West Coast very often.
Well,
you can get away with just collar shirt, open collar, and pretty much
sports broadcasting has changed. I don't know if you've taken a look around. There's a lot fewer ties on national television these days.
Anyways, nice of you to break out the...
it's a collar. Just be happy.
The blue and...
Just be caught. It's a Lululemon shirt. It's very nice.
Yeah. Oh, Lulu. Okay. The Redwoods Golf Course poll question today. Will Elias Pettersson get his confidence back? You can vote yes. You can vote no. This after a game where the Vancouver Canucks lose. This after a game where it's scoreless after 40 minutes. Once again, just crying out for a frontline player to grab a hold of it and do something, as J-Pat would say. And this after a game where he defers, but you may even say demurs twice, with a lot of open space in front of him and a goaltender staring him down. Do we have the photo, Mike? Have we put up the photo yet?
Now, this is on the more contentious of the two.
Yes, this is the first one. Yes. This is the first one in the first period. You can see the score bug there, less than 5 minutes to play. And look, for a guy who's been a 100-point player and who has scored the number of goals that Elias Pettersson has scored in his career, particularly early on, that to me looks like a shooting opportunity, Blake. Or if it's not a shooting opportunity, boy, you better get the puck to a guy who's got a glorious shooting opportunity.
In both of these cases, the guy that he drops the puck back to have people on them to the equal extent that somebody is on Elias. It's not an upgraded scoring opportunity.
Yeah.
And in the case of the shorthanded one, never drop pass in a shorthanded opportunity because then it can go the other way. And of course, you're caught way out of position and they've got numbers already and they've got even more numbers if they shake free of the player that they are guarding anyhow. That one, Matt, there's a lot of disingenuous, the defenders, and I'm not even saying that I'm a detractor in Elias Pettersson. As I said yesterday in my ferocious rant on this, nobody is arguing that Elias Pettersson is not a good NHL player. The argument here, the debate, is whether or not he's a superstar NHL player that deserves to be the 8th highest paid player in the NHL on AAV. People, the contract that he has is currently the 6th richest contract in the NHL. That is the debate. Don't get sucked into disingenuous debates about Elias Pettersson, like the one if Evander Kane's poor pass to Elias Pettersson, late as it was, is a different issue. That's a critique we can have at a different moment about Evander Kane's play. The puck is where it is. He's got it when he got it. He still has an opportunity to do something as a player, and you saw in that photo, as imperfect as the pass was, he was in position. If he takes that shot, and it was waffling a little bit of a bobble, Matt, if he takes a shot with that bobbling puck and it goes wide because it was bobbling and it's not a great shot, do you know how many people are critical of his decision there? 0. The number is 0. There's nobody critical. None. Because he's that close to the goalie. He's got an avenue. I don't care if the puck was wobbling. I don't care if the pass was late. He got to that position with all of those conditions in place. You take the shot. If it's not a good shot, it's okay. It's a better opportunity than the one you are ultimately going to see when you watch that game when he drops it back. Don't get sucked in to straw man arguments about Elias Pettersson. Deal with what's on the table. Is he still a superstar? Is he doing superstar things? And take a look at all the superstars around the top of the goal scoring leaders, point leaders. How many of them, as you say, Matt, demur in that situation? And I would say 0.
This is 2 days in a row, partner, and you're not right. I almost feel like the plight of Elias in this market can be gauged by how often and how vociferously Blake goes on these.
Well, I hate the argument around this. Like, people try to make these absolute straw man arguments.
There are fans who are hear no evil, see no evil, and just want to back their guy and are sitting there hoping and are, needless to say at this stage of the proceedings, gripping and grasping for you say straw man, for every last little singular straw.
His course, he's good. He's playing good defense.
Yep.
That's not the totality of what he is being paid for.
Correct. And of course, he's not the first line Swedish center in this market who has passed on a breakaway. Shout out Hank.
No.
But of course, Hank's bottom line, especially in these prime years, was pretty darn good. Look, these are split-second decisions out there on the ice. You oftentimes don't have a lot of time to think. You'll hear this from professional athletes from time to time. Oh, if you're thinking out there, you're not reacting, you're not playing instinctively. And I think therein lies the rub here, Blake, that it wasn't instinctive for him to shoot that puck. It would have been instinctive for him to shoot that puck at an earlier stage in life.
I would think so.
Like, I saw a graphic today about, quickest to 10 goals in the season for young players, and Elias is on that list with like 2 other superstars. This was 28 goals as a rookie. Remember, he had those first 10 games as a rookie. We're like, holy cow, sky is limit. This is a 3-time 30-goal scorer, a 5-time 20-goal scorer. And you watch those 2 passes, but particularly the first one, as you note, and it's almost like he wants to defer the responsibility to someone else, which gets us to the confidence question, which is why we're asking about confidence here, because we've all seen it. These weren't the first 2 opportunities, although the first one might be the most stark, that where we've seen Elias pass up a scoring chance or not want to pull the trigger. if like he was an older player in his career, as they sometimes say about boxers, when they get to a certain age, they don't want to pull the trigger because they know they leave themselves exposed a little bit and they just don't want to take. If he was an older player who sort of recognized that he had lost a step or lost a few velos on the velocity of his slap shot or something like that, viewed himself more as a facilitator, creator, playmaker as opposed to a finisher, you can understand that. But he's not in that stage of career or life. And so to watch this is very troublesome. I feel like he is lugging around 22 months of struggles. I feel like he is lugging around an old personality clash with JT Miller, if not with Rick Tocchet as well, plus all the public messaging and, frankly, public embarrassment to some degree that Rick Tocchet and this managerial staff has hoisted upon him. I feel like he's lugging around the contract. I feel like he's lugging around expectations. I feel like he's lugging around the criticism from a market that knows it's hockey. And so on the poll question, I did vote yes. I think he'll get his confidence back. I'm just not sure it will be here in Vancouver with the Canucks. He is at the point for me, Blake, where I wonder whether a change of scenery is the only thing that will get him going again. And was it Nikolai Ehlers this year with the Winnipeg Jets where everybody in Winnipeg sort of understood that was it Ehlers who signed in Carolina?
Yep.
Everybody in Winnipeg sort of understood that Nikolai Ehlers was on his way out the door in Winnipeg. And it wasn't necessarily because of a cap crunch. It was because he wanted to play in a quieter market. Even despite his success in Winnipeg, he completely wanted to shun any kind of celebrity, scrutiny, limelight, everything that goes with playing in a Canadian market where hockey is the number one sport and where players on the local NHL team are recognized far and wide.
Well, he's got a bit of a JT Miller. He had a bit of a JT Miller scenario there too. Like there was a bunch of alphas in that Jets room, and Blake Wheeler was gone, but Scheifele I think is of that ilk as well. I don't know if that was
Ehlers didn't want to exist in that environment.
No.
That was all just too much for him.
Yeah.
That it didn't work with his personality. It didn't work in his brain. He, just get me to Carolina. I can go about anonymity in Carolina. I can play well. I can play with good players. It's a good team. And I don't have to be stopped in the street. I don't have to have my family say, we were on social media last night or listening to radio or picked up a newspaper or watched on television and saw, what's wrong with Ehlers? He hasn't scored in 6 games or something like that. I almost feel like this is where we're at with Elias, that it's all just too much. It's too heavy, that he can't handle this.
Do you know
that he doesn't have the mindset, the capacity,
and
the innards
in a
to
week
deal
in which
with all
we've
this.
brought up the Vancouver Grizzlies and possible relocation. Rarely do we make comparisons. Usually we bring other sports into hockey. I'm going to bring hockey into another sport. Do you know who Elias Pettersson might be? He might be Sharif Abdur-Rahim. A
really good player, just not a superstar player.
Yeah,
burdened with you've got to be the franchise.
You've got to be the franchise,
yeah.
and especially now, I think there's been a physical limitation that has appeared here in the last couple of years that is unquantifiable, but I think there is a physical difference here.
It's not tendinitis now.
No, there's something physically different, I think, that is limited. Elias Pettersson a little bit, but I don't think he's the guy that you can hang your hat on, that you can lean on for production and all the other things all at once like some other players.
Yeah.
And I think Elias Pettersson on a very good team would be very good. I think he would be near an $11.6 million worth of player, but he can't be the guy that creates that.
There are so many people in the comments of our Redwoods Golf Course poll question here talking about just that, Blake, that here's Curtis, for example. I've seen Curtis account a fair bit. The absolute best case for this player is to be a Ryan Nugent-Hopkins light type, where he can thrive as a 2C below a dynamic 1C. I just don't think that's happening in Vancouver. Yeah, I understand what Curtis is saying there.
Mm-hmm.
Because here's what I'll say, and this is the really sad part. And I'm you can cast blame here, but at the same time, there's an inevitability about it that no one person can control. He seemed. Do you remember the early days of Elias Pettersson? Like, just what a bright young man he was, and trying to crack jokes, even in his second language. We set him down in seconds after he was drafted. We were told by a Canucks staffer, guys, this is the rare Swedish player who's a little less comfortable in English than others. And we went, oh, okay, no problem. And then he sat down and he cracked a joke with us. It was the first things out of his mouth. And we're like, no,
he's going to do just fine.
This guy's comfortable. He's going to do just fine. And, of course, that first home game where he scores the goals and he's looking up at the scoreboard and sort of taking it all in, that wry smile. And even after winning the Calder Trophy, the Rookie of the Year, and thinking about Jason Botchford and mentioning Jason Botchford, it just seemed like this was a bright, conscientious, not the most dynamic or charismatic personality, but that there was a really good human there, on top of being an excellent hockey player.
Conscientious,
all those things. Yeah. And now I watch him and I listen to him, and I feel like he is in a completely joyless environment, that he is having no fun playing hockey, that he is having no fun playing for, especially Rick Tocchet. But we'll see, and we're 15 games in with Adam Foote. We'll see where that goes. That he's having no fun playing in Vancouver. That it has been turned into a business for him, what he does. And look, as I said, there is no one person that you can blame for that. That is the nature of this beast. You play NHL hockey in a big Canadian market, that comes with a whole lot of magnifying glass and scrutiny. And at some point, you have to put the guardrails up, put the blinders on if that is adversely affecting you. And I think over the years, everybody who's on the Canucks beat and in that room says he is acutely aware of everything that is said about him in the media and media discussions about the team and about his own game. And I think it's becoming clear that we're dealing with a personality who just can't handle that.
I don't.
Sad as that is,
I don't think it is the pressure. I think he was given full leash at the start of this year. I think people were ready to say, okay, training camp without JT Miller, coast is clear, fully healthy, nothing in the offseason. I think people were like, all right, let's go. Mm-hmm. Let me see old Petey.
But Blake, they have a tremendous season 2 years ago where they nearly knock off the Western Conference champs in Game 7. He has a terrific season as well. I mean,
for the most part, it waned.
Yeah, it waned in the second half, but 34 goals and 89 points is nothing to sneeze at. Okay, didn't go great in the playoffs. It was 6-13, but then he comes back that fall, and it's clear he's not in great shape, and he hasn't worked at it. The best players are obsessive about improving themselves. They want to be great. They work hard to be great. Somewhere in here, I think, it just became a business for him, and he stopped loving it as much as the guy we saw when he first came over from Sweden.
I mean, it's a theory. I don't know that we can definitively say that. The other thing that has stood out to me here is when are you guys going to shift focus to other players? Quinn Hughes has not been great this year. Quinn Hughes is a Norris Trophy winner who was like a near 100-point player last year. Like, the leash is going to be a little bit longer for players that very recently have performed to the utmost.
I do want to get into Hughes later, and we shall.
Yeah, he's not exempt from any criticism. But if you're wondering why one's volume is more than the other,
well, it's 22 months. 22 months.
Yes. Yeah, it's a long time.
We had it out on DeBrusque the other day. We will again.
But DeBrusque, again, it's a $5 million player. Like, your expectations are significantly lower there.
Our friends at the Redwoods Golf Course customized corporate events for you. So if you're planning an outing, check out the Redwoods. They have the large heated, covered driving range. They can get their head teaching professional, Craig, involved, do some golf lessons. They got food and beverage, of course. And if you've got children ages 6 to 16, want to set them up for the sport of a lifetime, check out the private and semi-private junior lessons available at the Redwoods, flexible to your schedule. Info, redwoods-golf.com. If it's on the lesson side, /instruction. Our top story brought to you by Yellow Dog Brewing, Neighborhood Brewing, Foolish Winery. Connor Bedard is finally on the board against his hometown Canucks. The North Vancouver prodigy scores into an empty net, his first goal in Vancouver. And the Blackhawks beat the Canucks for the first time in 12 tries since January 31st, 2022, before young Connor was even in the National Hockey League. It was tied for the Canucks' record of longest winning streak versus a given opponent, and it all came crashing down in an extraordinary third period that saw 7 goals after a scoreless opening 40. 5-2, Hawks win. Canucks have been outscored 25-12 in the third this year. Tyler Bertuzzi with a third period hat trick. Have you ever seen an easier third period hat trick? Bingo, bango,
Which
bongo.
goal was it? Where
Tappins,
where Myers is prone. I mean, he could have fired 3 shots on goal there before somebody would have got to him.
Ex-Canuck Ilya Mikheyev scores. It's his 4th, more than all but 2 Canucks on the season, and 43 saves from goaltender Spencer Knight, who outduels Kevin Lankinen, despite 45 shots from the Vancouver Canucks. That's a season high. 18 high danger chances from the Vancouver Canucks. That's a season high. 40 scoring chances total from the. This is all at 5-5.
Yeah.
Must say, wasn't your typical 0-0 0-0 affair through 40.
No.
Tons of chances and shots, high event hockey, entertaining hockey at Rogers Arena. That's been in too little measure this season.
I was questioning whether or not you're allowed to call it a barn burner if there's not a single goal scored, but back and forth they went. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed myself.
We say it periodically. Don't judge books by covers. You can have a really entertaining 1-0, 2-0 hockey game. And this was a very entertaining 0-0 scoreline through 40.
And I think there was enough high danger chances there that, somebody should have scored. There should have been goals on the board. I think if the Canucks play those 2 periods again against against that same team, I bet you they end up scoring goals.
Well, let's hear from Coach on just that. Here's Adam Foote.
Well, the first 2 periods we doubled them in chances, and we all saw that. I think one goes in. Pretty good chance we win that hockey game. Little mishap on the first one they got defensively. We made a mistake, and then all of a sudden, I just think we got off a little bit from there. I don't know if it was fatigue from the trip coming back or just we overpressed, and you guys saw the rest.
Yeah, Drew O'Connor gets a goal called back upon review. That's a great challenge from Jeff Blazel on the Chicago bench. Foote says if one of them goes in, they win. Okay, well, yeah, maybe. I do goals change games, so there's an argument to be made there. But Canucks fall at home again. Just 19 home wins since the start of last season. That's 3rd worst in the league, behind only San Jose and Chicago, who were absolutely abysmal last season. Mm-hmm. Canucks 2-4 this season on home ice, 7-8 on the campaign. Let's shout out Evander Kane, because we were very critical of Evander Kane through his first 10 to 12 games as a Vancouver Canuck. That's another outstanding game from the hometown guy here. His 3rd in the last 4. He scores. He has 10 shots, 13 attempts. It's a 61.4 Corsi. And he was so hot that Elias wanted to give him the puck on breakaways.
Well, he also, dare I say, Matt, he looked fast.
Yeah.
Like
and that goal from the top of the circle, like in a comeback effort, like.
Well, that's his second shot from distance.
That's right. Like I mentioned yesterday, he's got to be the greasy goal guy. The Canucks need some of those. They don't have the, outstanding skill and offense throughout the lineup where they're going to score goals from distance. And you said, well, he scored a goal from distance today, and that's 2 in a row now. So good on Evander. And I think Evander probably heard some of the noise too. Like as a local guy, a hometown guy, your whole you'll have tons of Canucks fans in your circle, right? And they tend to monitor what's being said. But anyways, good on Evander for really stepping it up here. He was outstanding. Connor Garland, really good too. 7 shots, 9 attempts in his return from the lineup. He's always engaged and involved in things. Let's hear from Evander. Here's Kane on how he saw the game last night.
We played well enough to win, obviously. Dominated the first 2 periods. A little soft in front of our net. They get a few lucky bounces and capitalizing the power play there. So, tough, but a lot of positive signs in terms of how we played tonight.
And I'll say this, Evander's always struck me as a bright guy and a good communicator, and I think he makes some good points here. Look, process has not been good to date for the Vancouver Canucks through 14. Process was better last night.
Well,
like defensive collapse in the third.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, no. The scoring chances in the shots team at large play could.
Offensively, yes.
Defensively
different
and
kettle.
Defensively, and we're going to dig into that a little more tomorrow prior to this big weekend, a busy weekend, Columbus and Colorado in town. Process is abysmal on the penalty kill. And this is troubling because Adam Foote was in charge of the defense in the penalty kill last year when the Vancouver Canucks got so much better in that facet of the game. It had been years since they had been good in that facet of the game, and they surged all the way to 3rd in the NHL last season in penalty killing. This year, it's just a disaster. There's no other way to put it. They were good through the first 2 games of the season. The last 13 games, Canucks penalty kill is 61%. Like, that's Boudreau levels.
Their best penalty
They've given
killing.
up 16 power play goals. That's the worst in the league. And they're 29th in percentage on the season at 68.
Their best penalty killing forward may be playing this weekend in Teddy Blueger.
Oh, I thought you meant he's playing for the St. Louis Blues this weekend.
Well,
because the Pius Suter miss continues to be a thing, huh?
Blueger will maybe be back on the weekend. I would guess he plays 1 game on the weekend at the very least. And Derek Forbort is apparently skating again, I think. Not practicing, but skating. That is fair. And so those 2 guys, that's like you've made a trade for 2 penalty killers in particular. Yep. So that will help.
For sure. Aatu Ratu, first goal of the season. Took a while.
Great shot.
Great shot. He ended last year so hot, too. But, young players, steps forward, step back.
But I hope that reminds himself. This is why, meaningless goals, and it was a meaningless goal, do matter in some cases. And for a guy like Ratu, I hope it mattered because it reminds guys, I can do this.
Well, Blake, especially since you don't have Hedl, you don't have Lekramaki, you didn't have Garland till last night. You need goals from other areas. Like, this is not an offensively inept player. Yes, it is now at the point where people think Aatu Ratu is going to have to make his hay as a defensive player, being able to play a shutdown role, a matchup role, a penalty killing role, that he may not have the elite NHL offensive ability that some scouts saw at 16-17 when people thought he could be a first overall pick in the draft. Fair enough, but there's still something in there.
Well, he's
he's
proving to be a pretty good defensive center. And secondly, I still think, Matt, if you're a 15-goal, 25-assist center, that's a pretty useful player in the National Hockey League. That's defensively aware.
Yep.
But what this existential question is that pops up for me, and a Ratu goal sort of highlights this, is even if it's Philip Hedl, what another legitimate offensive threat center. Pretend Philip Hedl doesn't have a concussion history. Pretend he's coming back from a broken rib, but he's back next week. Mm-hmm. Are the Canucks a much better team? Like, not like a
No.
not a cup contender.
I was thinking about this on the way on the drive.
Not a cup contender.
Yeah.
But I think they're a 95-point team with a Filipino that you know was playing 70 games. I think they are.
Yeah, and that's fair, Blake. I mean, I would argue there is certainly a ceiling on a team that relies so heavily on Filipino for offense. But I hear what you're saying in terms of the context of this group in this season.
My point is the cavern that is there now as the second line center.
Yes.
Lucas Reichel.
No. He's not a center to begin with. And he has no points in, is it 6 or 7 games? 7 as a Canuck. P.O. Joseph with his first point as a Canuck, and Tom Villander, another assist, 2 in 5 games. Once again, nothing from the captain. And now 15 games in, we continue to wait for him to take over and dominate games like we're accustomed. And look, everything you said earlier about Hughes and Pettersson and the difference thereof in terms of the criticism is absolutely spot on, Blake. I do not disagree for a moment. What I will say is, if we're holding Elias to the 11.6 standard, I'm holding Quinn Hughes to an even higher standard. This is supposed to be the best defenseman in the world.
That's
we
fair,
haven't seen any of that this year.
But my patience to see that player is still longer than it is today.
Okay, fair enough. I wonder how Father Jim Hughes' patience is, though. Do you see that? Walking into the game last night with Quinn? And for those who don't know, Jim Hughes is a very hard hockey man. When Quinn was a young player, and I got wind that, sometimes Travis Green in those film sessions could be tough on Quinn, well, mostly on Brock and on Elias, but on young players, I had someone who knows Jim Hughes tell me, well, there ain't nothing Travis can say that Jim hasn't. Believe you me, the Hughes brothers can take hard coaching. Bottom line is, if Elias is going to be this guy, Blake, Quinn Hughes has to take over games. He's not taking over games.
Or Jimmy's come in and has given him a couple of leads on East Rutherford real estate.
Oh, come on. I'm sure they've got that sorted if need be. What's up with Yellow Dog?
You don't think Jim's running those errands for him?
No, I believe they may have a real estate agent, Blake.
You were talking about calling in the alpha dog, which is the captain. Well, Yellow Dog's got an alpha dog too. The Hazy Pale Ale. It's one of their fresh hop beers this season. Go check it out. Hints of grapefruit, melon, lime, followed by crisp mouthfeel, hoppy bitterness as well. Sounds very fun. It'll have you begging for more. The Alpha Dog Hazy Pale Ale from Yellow Dog Brewing.
We got a super chat here from Spatzilli on Elias Pettersson, who says, I'm at the point I don't like watching him most nights. If he isn't going 100%, I don't want to see it. I understand what he's saying there. It's now a little cringy to watch, that you're now, before he would get the puck and he would sort of light up, and now he gets the puck and you just sort of go, oh.
I don't think 100% might be a little bit mislabeled. Like, again, I don't think it is about effort. I don't know what's in that head, but I don't think it is, I'm going to take the easy way out. I think it's confidence or overthinking or doubt or all those sorts of things. I don't think it's effort.
You know what? We're going to do something on Philip Hronik. Let's save it till tomorrow. Let's do Crave the Stats of Uber Eats on Philip Hronik tomorrow, because we're just getting a little tight on time here. Because I do want to give some shine to the new PWHL franchise for Vancouver, which has a very big day today. This has been a long time coming. We've been awaiting. What are you going to name the team? And thy name is Golden Eyes. The Vancouver Golden Eyes.
All one word.
And they put out a, must say, beautiful video today of our city in explaining the name. Blake, why Golden Eyes?
It's a great question. Oh, you want me to get down to you? What they would tell you,
Blake,
is,
let's be kind here. We have a new shooter. They haven't lost a game yet.
I think I'm in the minority here. I don't like the name, but
I don't love it either.
But I think we're in the minority. Most people seem to like it. Good. It is a diving bird, like it's a duck. It's not a bird of prey. The eye will have you believe, oh, is it a falcon or is it an eagle? It is not. It is a very placid-looking duck that does not have the eye that is on the jersey. Curious enough. It's called the Common Goldeneye.
They've taken some artistic license with the logo, is what you're telling
That's what
me.
I'm telling
Okay,
you.
all right.
Very
So be
few
it.
people know of the Goldeneye. You might recognize it if you see it, I suppose. But,
I when I first heard it, I thought it was a fish.
well, that's Goldeye.
Yeah,
It's-
but
Yeah, we don't have those
most
here.
people aren't up enough on animals and fish to know the distinction.
Yeah. Yeah,
I would think that most people hear golden eyes and think fish. I could be wrong here. Also, it's a bit of a mouthful. Golden eyes, 3 syllables.
people say, well, they've got the Golden Knights. Yeah, but you can say, hey, you're playing the Knights tonight. You going to say
Right.
we're playing the Eyes tonight?
Yeah, you're not saying the eyes. You're not saying the golds.
I don't mind the jersey, except for, I don't mind the colors of the jersey.
I like the colors. Yep.
Having an eye as a logo, I don't know. I don't know. But again, we're in the minority. People seem to like it. So.
And the other thing I'll say is, and I've said this many times on the program, I'm more interested in the community name than the team name. Like, to me, that's what matters most. When I was a kid, I couldn't wrap my head around why are people so behind Montreal Canadiens? It's the most boring name, Canadiens. Well, they've won all those cups, right? They brought glory to the city. You know, Blue Jays once upon a time were like a Blue Jay. Well,
Well, to your point, though, the Golden Eyes could get off on. They are the odds-on favorite to win the PWHL championship this year. If they do that, you can call them whatever the heck you want.
right. And the other thing, and we always say this as well when we're talking about team names. We did it with Utah Mammoth, Golden Knights, Seattle Kraken, onwards. It matters a whole lot less what we think as to 50-year-old guys. Well, one of us is 50. It matters a whole lot more what those kids think.
Yeah.
We brought you the story earlier in the week from that NYU psychology professor and Toronto Blue Jays fan that particularly boys aged 8 to 12, that is what they call the quote-unquote sensitive time, where you can really imprint a team into that child's life that will last perhaps for a lifetime, right? So it's what do the kids think about this? What does the 8 to 12 demographic think? What's, as you pointed out, as we had that conversation, Blake, what's the mascot? And is the mascot fun and engaging?
Give me a duck, I guess.
I would think. So we'll see how it plays with the kids.
The merch store is open. You can get merch.
It just won't be on the jersey. Not for
Strangely,
this year.
because they announced the jerseys 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, that one's odd for me too. The Mammoth did this as well. Yeah, we're going the first year.
No, but the Mammoth, they held back the Mammoth name for
fair enough,
quite a
but
bit.
they held back the team name.
Curious.
I realize you've got to get the logo on so many things. It's a massive logistical chore, but I do find that a little peculiar as well.
Yeah.
Anyways, best of luck to them. Looking forward. They're going to be a hit this year.
They're going to be good.
They're
So
going to
that's
have
the
tons
good
of
news.
attendance. They're going to be good. They're
And
supposed
Matt,
to be good.
here's the thing,
Pacific
too.
Coliseum. I think people will like getting. Hockey fans will like being back in that rink with all its memories and ghosts of.
I'm
the
not going to
Canucks.
suggest the Golden Eyes, outgate the Canucks. I'm not going to be so silly. But, I mean, if they're good, if
They'll
they're
be
as
a
good,
hotter ticket.
if they're as good as we think they're going to be, Matt, this is fertile ground with the Canucks playing like they are for this PWHL team to hit the ground running.
Like when the wheels fell off on the best Canucks teams ever in 2011, 2012. So we're talking like 2014, 50, somewhere in there. And the sellout streak ended, and the Canucks weren't as hot a ticket. And frankly, at the time, the lines did okay. Whitecaps weren't as hot. I knew some of the scalpers who worked outside the building when we did paper tickets. And there was one scalper in particular who I would see at Nat Bailey Stadium every single time. And he said to me, "This is where I make my money. This is a much hotter ticket than the Canucks, Lions, or Whitecaps."
Well, bigger investment too, right?
I could see the Golden Eyes ticket being a tougher or more desirable ticket than the Canucks ticket
Yeah.
this year. Especially at the price point, right? Because the Canucks ticket is so expensive. It's a big commitment. All right, Jordan Binnington. You know him. presumptive starting goaltender for Canada at the. Okay. He tries to steal Alex Ovechkin's puck after Ovi becomes the first NHL player to hit 900 goals. I say that only because he led us to Four Nations Gold last year.
Yes.
As we know, Binnington, he's a miserable son of a gun. He had a wafer-thin explanation after the fact.
Said he was going to give it back.
Right, but I basically had an assist on the goal there, turning the puck over. Okay, funny. I didn't think he'd mind sharing. Okay, funny. I had full intention to give it back to him. I do not believe that for a single solitary second.
No.
I think he's Scrooge. I think he was hoping to play Scrooge. And he better play better, or it's, come on, Logan Thompson, and I don't feel great about the backup goaltending for Canada at the
Logan
Olympics.
Thompson looks great
He
right
does. And from someone who puts the ass in class to someone who puts the pro in prodigy, Vancouver's Macklin Celebrini of the San Jose Sharks leads the NHL in scoring, 21 points, tied with Connor McDavid. Blake, he is making his bid for this Olympic team at 19 years old. He is our Lamine Yamal.
The beauty of the Olympic roster, remember, you can have a 13th forward on the bench. Like, at the very least, Matt, he's your wild card
He's gotta
entry
be on the team.
At the very least,
The
if
other
not a
thing,
prominent role.
you know his personality. Vibes, man.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
It can be a very serious group at the Canadian senior international level, and rightfully so. It's gold and only gold.
He'd be so fun
But
to have there.
holy cow, could you see this kid lighting up that room, huh?
Sid, you want to have a sleepover?
Yeah, exactly. Can you imagine how much joy he is going to infuse into that group?
It's true.
If he's on the team. Let's get to today's menu. It is brought to you by Greta, a fantastic spot to pregame, to postgame. You are mere steps from the arena or stadium. An even better spot for your upcoming party or event. If you need a building for a team building event, sociable, team party, whatever it is. Great street food, awesome arcade game for everyone. Try the air hockey. It's amazing. And for more info to book that event, gretabar.com, Greta 50 West Cordova. Let the games begin. We will talk to Patrick Johnson here, columnist with the Province and Post Media on all things Vancouver Canucks. And then a long-standing guest on this program, well, since the start. Mike Benevides, the defensive coordinator of the BC Lions, the former head coach of the BC Lions. It has been his unit which has helped turn around this Lions season. 7 straight victories going into Saturday's Big West final at Regina against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. We talk about North Van's Jackson Finley, right, who's made such an impression with 4 interceptions in his young CFL career, and some of the other stars. Matthew Betts, Robert Carter Jr. is just doing insane work for the Lions. Looking forward to the big football game later in the program. We'll talk some Whitecaps. We'll talk some baseball with a big, juicy rumor about the Seattle Mariners and their offseason plans. Talk some Jays offseason with our intern, Hayden. All that coming up on the show. Time now for our Bet365 bets of the day, Blake. I lost spectacularly last night, looking for a multi-goal Canucks win.
I was looking for 2 points from Quinn Hughes. Lost that one again with just the one. But I'm going to go pick up on the Binnington story.
Oh.
They are back at it against the Sabres tonight.
Hofer?
Probably. Who they both play because Binnington ultimately got pulled.
They've both been shit.
They've both been terrible. They both played last night. So, I mean, who's to say who's starting this one? I tried just now to look. I couldn't find it yet. But I think the Blues are just in such a terrible spot. I'm going to take the Sabres on the spread. Sabres minus 1.5.
Yeah.
Pays out plus 190.
I saw that Lions Riders line at 3.5, BC plus 3.5 earlier in the week. I kind of regret not getting on it then. It's down to 3 now. So you know what? I'm going to pick them to win straight up at plus 150. It may take the points as well.
You might as well.
This segment, a presentation of Bet365, whatever your bet. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app, get in on the game, use code NATION when doing so. Must be 19 or older. Please play responsibly. Patrick Johnston coming up next. Cigars and Bryce from the historic Wall Center.
This segment brought to you by your Pacific Toyota dealers, more specifically the Toyota Prius plug-in hybrid. You want an electric vehicle. You got one in the Prius. You've got range anxiety. You want to be able to go on road trips and not have to worry about plug-in. You got one. Toyota Prius plug-in hybrid. It's whatever you want it to be. It can be a fully electric vehicle in the push of a button. You want that extra range? You want the gas to help out? It's there too. And the performance... you're going to have to drive it to believe it. It is the most fun thing in the world. And, man, you are going to break some necks driving down the street. It is that good looking of a car. Fabulous deals right now. Easy on the pocketbook. $99 weekly at 3.49% APR for 64 months with $3,600 down. That includes a $3,000 discount right now. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Pacific Toyota dealer today.
Here's Patrick Johnston, columnist with the Province.
Dodge a bullet this week.
Sun.
Thank you, Matthew.
The entire media operation.
He sent us a cease and desist letter. We may no longer call him.
Untrue.
No, that wasn't you, right? That wasn't you.
No, that was Rob. That's what they do at Daily Hive.
What? Ooh. Shade. From our
No,
two,
to be clear, they don't.
Yeah, you're going to get sued for that.
Yeah, exactly. There's static amongst the bald heads on this program.
Oh, yeah.
What stood out to you in last night's loss?
Oh. Oh, man. It honestly, it was a fun game.
It was. Ruined.
It was. Even if, there was sort of, you're like, the Canucks are getting a lot of shots. Are they actually dangerous? I don't know. I don't think so. And that became sort of the line of questioning, because then you start discovering that actually by design, the Chicago Blackhawks don't block shots, and they want Spencer Knight to see everything. And which led to a very interesting answer from Adam Foote, which was basically saying our guys didn't stay at the net long enough, and that's fine. But anyway,
the heat map disagrees with that, though, right? Like, you saw the heat map; it is glowing in front of Spencer Knight.
Well, the heat map's fine. It's more. But it was more the the goalie saw the shots, and if the goalie sees the shot, he's supposed to make the save. Certainly, in the way that goalies are taught to play now, right? The whole point,
and three wraparounds are going to glow, but goalies don't let in wraparounds anymore.
Anyway, listen. The Canucks had a lot. The point is the Canucks had a ton of possession, right? They had a lot of the puck. They were actually doing good things, and they should have scored. On the whole, given possession, they should have scored, and they did. And then they did what J-Pat highlighted after the game: 25 goals in the third period this season. Half the goals they've given up have been in the final frame, and that is a massive, massive problem. And it's whether it's fatigue, whether it's just a lack of execution, lack of preparedness, whatever it is, the third periods are a huge, huge problem for a team that can afford few problems. It sucks. And this isn't fun to discuss. Partly because, it was actually a fun home game. Even if they weren't scoring back and forth, there's a lot of action. And I think, people go to be entertained and have fun. Obviously, they want to see goals scored. And it just, they didn't have it. They didn't score, and then they lost. And that the sort of feeling of deflation that you felt covering yet another game. This is no fun. The people think, oh, you guys are here to rag them and drag them down and yada yada. No. Believe me, the 2024 Stanley Cup Finals were the best hockey coverage experience of my career. The games were fun. There was a lot of, whatever, but
playoffs not
for
fun.
What we have to do. But the playoffs are fun. Yeah. And you don't get to the playoffs giving up 25 goals, giving up half your goals on the season in the third period.
Let's ask you the Redwoods Golf Course poll question. Will Elias Pettersson get his confidence back?
I'm not even sure confidence is the question at this point. It's an acceleration, skating fast question.
We ask it because he's deferring on the breakaway and the two.
He's got more than enough
Right.
separation on those
Sure.
two plays.
Okay. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like I see like fair. Other like outside of that, I see a player that's doing lots of good stuff, and he's going to the net, and you know, he almost that like people miss that rebound chance off the end wall that was an incredible save by Knight. But no, absolutely. Like I just want to, by the way, while we're talking about it, I just want to highlight. I think people didn't process the flubbed pass by Kane on the almost breakaway for Pettersson. Like, part of the reason why Pettersson's trying to time that out, because it's the end of their shift. Those guys have been on for a minute. Like, that was everything has to go right moment. Now, the later chance when he deferred and dropped back and like instead of just driving the lane, yeah, like that's the kind of thing that still is there. And is that because he's still anxious physically about his knee or whatever it is? Like, that, absolutely. Will he get those moments back? I'm starting to say, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, I do see a player that is playing smartly otherwise, and I think is doing lots of good things and passing the puck well, and but still struggling to kind of find shooting lanes. So is that confidence? Is that ability? I mean, I guess if you're asking me, will he get it back? And I have to be negative, I'll be no. But I'm not sure confidence is the issue here. But yeah, is he going to get it back? He's certainly not looking like it. If that's the thing we're talking about, finding the way to the shooting lane, right now, given where he's at, given everything else, I got to say no.
My template for that play, and I still think on the Kane one, you still take that shot. In fact, more so because you're tired.
Sure.
The idea should be getting the puck furthest away from your net, regardless.
Sure.
So if you fire and you miss, that's fine. You peel off in your change. My best template for this is he is the 8th highest paid player in the National Hockey League.
Yeah.
Find me a player on the list that's a forward that doesn't take a shot there. And I defy you to find one. I defy you to find one.
Yeah.
They're all
and
taking
I think
shots
that's
there.
in the end. Yeah, I think that's well put. And in the end is essentially why I'm saying no to this question, because it's been too long. Like it's been so long. It is rather, it's all, we're at almost 2 seasons now. It is a bit mind blowing. Like clearly whatever happened there physically in 23-24. And he would never talk about it. He'll never, ever talk about it. He was that fear of, well, I don't want to make an excuse. And we're like, I'm not making an excuse. We're just trying to understand what's going on.
Yeah.
And he will never, he'll just say, nope, I've got to be better. And like, fair enough.
So
but it's not, it has not been there for a long time.
The existential question for this year is, what is management thinking right now? Injuries were an excuse as to why they weren't putting their best foot forward. I was cautioning, and I still am, okay, but even when they get healthy, how much better are they? They are better, but how much? And if they're only 8 to 9% better than they were, what's the point in waiting to get healthy here? Do they have the temerity to sell off pieces? They don't really have pieces that are great to sell off outside of the Kiefer Sherwoods of the world, which aren't exactly going to rebuild your organization. Do you find a way to acquire new talent? Like, they are so stuck, Patrick. I don't know. I don't even, from my easy pulpit, from my undefeated chair here in our Pacific Toyota studios, I don't even know what to suggest to them, because they are, with their roster construction, they're very stuck right now. Like, rebuild? How? Who?
Hughes.
Well, I mean, just
no. Hold on.
Yeah.
Blake, Hughes.
Okay.
It's very simple.
Okay.
If this season is going to pod and Quinn Hughes is unwilling to sign an extension this summer, your rebuild piece is Quinn Hughes, and he gets you 3 to 4 good assets.
Yeah. And that one is really easier said than done right now, like, especially at this stage, Matt. If you're talking 10 months from now, sure. But right now?
No, this deadline.
Okay, what do they do between now and then?
Lose a lot of games.
I mean, it's funny. I find myself looking a little bit at, well, here, I've opened up the NHL media site, and right now the Global Series banner is there, and it's the Nashville Predators and the Pittsburgh Penguins. And if you think a little bit about where the Penguins are at, at the end of the Rutherford era. Now, the Penguins did not have a lot. They're still kind of stuck in that window. Can they really? I mean, they in their heart of heart, they probably, Kyle Dubas and his crew probably know that they would probably best serve to trade Crosby, Malkin, Letang. But those guys are not going anywhere as far as we know. I mean, maybe it happens. Maybe this is the year where it happens. And that would help them a lot. They don't have a ton in the system. They're playing great. Let's be clear. They're playing great. They're punching above their weight. Good for them. But there's not a lot of top-end guys coming through, although they've done a decent job of sort of restocking in general. Now, the reason why the Penguins were in that state was because they were winning the Stanley Cup and trying to win the Stanley Cup. The Canucks are far from that. So they're in a pickle now. Like, if they do the, quote, rebuild, which we know ownership will never actually go for, but they may not have a choice because, as you said, Quinn Hughes is not willing to stay. Okay, you can start thinking about some of that, and there are things to work with, but there's no budding future stars in this lineup. I mean, Tom Willander's playing well. I'm enjoying Tom Willander, but I think there's still a long way to go for him to be an out-and-out star defenseman. But let's go look at the injured list. Like, just to go to Blake's original question, like, who is there available to come back? There's Nils Höglander, there's Jonathan Lekkerimäki, right? Like, there's also, I suppose, Derek Ford, Teddy Bluger, and Victor Mancini. Of those five guys, I mean, I'm putting Philip Hedl aside because I don't think he's going to. I mean, I hope he comes back. But
such a question mark. Yeah.
Right, you can't. So of those guys, Höglander and Lekkerimäki have ability to put the puck in the net. So they make the team a little bit better, right? Like, this is a team that does need to score more. I mean, they're -10 in goals for and against, right? Like, you could survive 50 goals against is not worse than the league. You could see that, you can squint and say, okay, they get those guys back, they get back to even in terms of goals for and against. That gets you in the direction of being a playoff team. But as I've been pointing out, we are already starting to go on a countdown where they're going to have to play like 600 hockey the rest of the way to make the playoffs. So, like, that's not being me saying the sky is falling. It's just simply the reality. You need to get 95 points, and they have 14 points. So, like, you're absolutely right, Blake. Like, what else is there here? And it's a team that, when the season started and things, you could not expect them to end up with 8-9 guys out injured at one point, right? Like, that is a thing that they will be able to say, listen, we had a pile of injuries and it set us behind the 8 ball right off the top. That said, look at the team they played last night. The Chicago Blackhawks have a superstar talent. Like, Connor Bedard has finally found his way. They have a fantastic first-line center. They have a couple really fun young defensemen. They have a quality goalie, right? But the rest of that lineup is not that spectacular.
No, pretty flawed. Yeah.
The Canucks, like the Canucks, it is not unreasonable to say the Canucks are at least as good as that team. And yet they lost because in the end, their $11.6 million number one center is not shooting and scoring enough. Their star defenseman, and I'm not blaming Quinn Hughes on this because I think he's doing everything he can. It's just a statement about how badly things are going right now. Has one 5-on-5 point this season.
Shocking.
It's a baffling case. I mean, we talked about this early on in the year that, they got that opening night win against Calgary, and it was a win built off everything but Quinn Hughes, and that was a good thing. Like, you need the rest of your lineup going. And to a degree, they kind of had that going. Vander Kane actually, I think, is playing pretty well and is getting goals. And they got a goal from Aatu Ratu, who has 5 points, and that's what you need from your third-line center. And yet, there's just the top end is not there. Like, they're just not. PD has 3 goals, right? Like I said, I've already said Hughes is doing what he can, but the cohesive whole is not there. They are near the bottom in all these shot categories, right? Like, they just give up shots. They're not getting enough shots to counterbalance against that. There is a reason why, as much as people may malign his tenure, there is a reason why Rick Tocchet was so focused on defense, because the overall challenge here, it's a lot easier to prevent goals than it is to score goals. And if you focus on preventing goals, you're going to give yourself a fighting chance. And I one of the clear flaws so far to the Adam Foote game is that I think he lets his guys play too loose. It's not that they're making lots of mistakes, but they're trying to play a flowing game, and they don't have the talent, the offensive talent, to make the flowing game work. And certainly not without the likes of Hoagland. They need Lekkerimäki to hit. Like, there's just no doubt. When he comes back, they need him to be an impactful player because there's just not enough there. I mostly like Brock Besser's brought to the game, but, Brock Besser is – you can't have him being the only guy scoring. You need other guys scoring. Connor Garland's playing fun, and he's a fine player, but, you're not getting goals from him. You're not getting goals from Jake DeBrusk. Jake DeBrusk I think Jake DeBrusk, he's a lovely guy, great guy to talk to. He cares, and he knows how badly he's playing. Like, he had a little bit of an exchange post-game with a couple of us, and you can see in his face how bad he feels. He looks at what's going on. He is not contributing. And so if this team is going to go anywhere, all those things have to do better. Like, there's just fundamentally all the guys that are there to score need to score more, with perhaps the exception of Brock Besser, because he is scoring. Like, he won, the winning goal on Tuesday night, right? He's not going to score every night, but you need more from so many more guys on offense, and that is a huge problem right now. And I don't know if you can do that with the way, like I said, counterbalance against the struggles they're having defensively. They're just giving up too many goals, even if they're not giving up too many goals in relative comparison to the rest of the league. It's just a incoherent sort of way of playing right now, and that's just not going to work.
Were they too hasty in giving Lankinen that extension last year?
Maybe. I mean, they were in a bind. Like,
they weren't. No, they weren't.
Well,
they weren't in a bind. They were in a bind when they brought him here. They were not in a bind when they gave him the extension. They chose to give him an extension.
They didn't know what Demko was yet.
They didn't know what Demko was going to be. They didn't know what Demko was going to be. So locking Lankinen in made sense. Did it make sense at the number they did? Did they have to at the number they did? I mean, I suppose you could say that was a payback for him simply saying, yes, I will take far less than I'm worth for this season. And they were just paying him back for what they could pay him this last season. Anyway, Kevin Lankinen, like, sitting there writing last night, and, the player grades and thinking about this, the first 3 goals, in fact, all 4 goals, if you will, but goal 1, backdoor play, nobody covering anybody in the back door. Goal 2, Tyler Bertuzzi doing the exact same thing again on a power play. Nobody covered Tyler Bertuzzi. Goal 3, which is that's Ilya Mikheyev, right? Goal mouth scramble. Like, Kevin Lankinen is doing everything he can. He's literally splayed out, arms reaching out to try to stop Ilya Mikheyev from scoring. Goal 4, Tyler Bertuzzi, cross ice, cross seam pass. Like, maybe he makes a glorious Kirk McLean style save there, sure. But they didn't lose. The loss had nothing to do with Kevin Lankinen. It had to do with defensive miscues and, Tyler Myers having his worst game of the season. I'm a very pro Tyler Myers person. I think he's had a fantastic season given everything. But like the rest of his mates, could not keep up with the likes of Connor Bedard. Bedard was fantastic. I mean, the way he, from the get-go, had people chasing him. Myers got lucky that he had called for a tripping penalty early in the game. There was a hook by Aatu Ratu in the first period that he got away with. Like, Bedard was causing chaos, and the Canucks just couldn't react, and eventually it all came home to roost in the third period.
Hot take: Derek Forbort puts all the pieces into the right position on Canucks D.
I think he,
or at least the PK.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. I think, like, every time we've seen him play, I'm like, this is a player that I can see why you like. Problem is, he can't stay healthy.
He
would be a massive upgrade. Listen, he's a massive upgrade over P.O. Joseph. And, like, I think Junior Pettersson has not been very good this year. And Forbort clearly would be an upgrade over him. So, yes. Does he make a difference? Yes, but he's not here. And we don't know when he's back. He's on LTIR. Like, he's not back for ages with whatever ailment he's dealing with. So it's not worth it to talk about right now. This is who they have. This is what they have. And in similar teams to needing more on offense, there's a couple defensemen they just need a lot more from right now.
Last question from me. Is this game different if Blashill doesn't challenge that O'Connor goal? And did you understand the ruling on that challenge?
Oh yeah, no. I mean, the contact was obvious to me. The moment we saw it, we're like, yeah. I mean, I looked over at Woodley and he just started shaking his head. He's like, "There's no way that's standing up." Right? Like the one.
But he reestablishes outside the crease. Like the puck actually takes several seconds after the contact before.
He's out of his position to begin. I get what you're saying, but he's already out of his position to begin with before the puck gets shoveled under him. Yeah. Right? Like he's already swimming. He's swimming from the start. The call last week on Mackenzie.
I mean, he's down already. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't like last week's. This one made a little bit more sense.
It certainly makes more sense to me. Yeah. But
it just
what I don't like is he just throws his arms there. He's dead. It's almost like Justin Dean in center field with the ball lodged. Yeah. He just sort of quits on the play because I was bumped.
Yeah, but that's in the end that's the if you get bumped, I mean almost every time you get bumped, it's not going to be a goal. Now that's why in the end the Kane goal got pulled back on the McEachern contact. It was the slightest bit of contact. It was absurd, but there was contact, and that's almost every time the NHL will say there was contact. Goalie was not allowed to play his position.
So. I just wonder, how much license does the goaltender have? Like, if the goaltender goes, I'm bumped, and just sits there like a dead fish for 5-10 seconds, like, are they going to give him that benefit of the doubt as well?
Well, it probably depends. It probably depends.
Does the game change otherwise? Like, if the Canucks have a 1-0 lead there, do you see a?
Sure. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the Blackhawks were playing well, right? Like like I said, it was a good hockey game because both teams were playing well and creating chances. The Canucks needed to find a way to get more than a non-goal in those first two periods. They had a bazillion shots, and which meant they had a ton of possession. Like they at a certain level, they were kind of being sucked in by the Blackhawks trap. Like the Blackhawks wanted these shots. Shoot from here, shoot from here, shoot from here. There's your shooting lane. And the Canucks it's right. You look at the heat map, and there were lots of opportunities on top of the crease. But if you actually thought about the game and how those shots added up, there was not a lot of kind of pre-shot movement. There was not a lot of screens. There was not a lot of difficulty other than O'Connor's goal or non-goal. There wasn't a lot of chaos in near night. It was something that was something that I got Adam Foote to admit last night. Like he just said in the end that we didn't anchor long enough in front. We weren't staying in front long enough. We were there, but then and I really think that was because they would. I tried to ask Quinn Hughes about it, but I really think because of the fact that the Blackhawks allow you to see the goalie, I think that threw the Canucks off. I think they didn't. They were almost perhaps quicker to shoot or what have you. But anyway.
Let me ask you this. After this start, are they more or less likely to pay a steep price for a legitimate second-line center? Do they look at this and go, we're just too far away? Or do they say, we need this now more than ever we need to acquire?
I think what we know about Jim Rutherford and certainly, his view of it all is that you are constantly trying to make your team better, right? So as he would say, if there's a trade that makes sense, there is an opportunity to add a second line center and a center who will make your team better. I would not be shocked to see them go for it, even as thin in their trade chips bag they might be.
Have a good week. We'll catch up next Thursday.
Okay, take care, guys.
Harrison Price from the historic Wall Center, our next guest, a 3-time Grey Cup champion. He compiled a record of 33-21 as head coach of the British Columbia Lions. He is currently their defensive coordinator, and we could not go a BC Lions season, Blake, without bringing on our boy Mike Benevides, who's back here on Harrison Price. How you doing, Coach?
Doing fabulous. Thanks for having me on, gents. Thanks for having me on.
Well, we're having you on because when we look at 7 wins in a row and the turnaround of this BC Lions season, a lot of it was with you guys, your guys. It was not the first half of the year I'm sure you wanted, Mike, but holy cow, have they turned it around in the second half. What's been the cause?
I think the biggest thing is just guys getting more familiar with each other. We had some youth on the back end and some great additions. When you brought TJ Lee back in the building was phenomenal. And then adding a couple of defensive linemen and Levi Bell and Bradley and I. And, a few deletions were required too, right? That's always part of the process, figuring out who you want, who you need, and who's making plays for you. It is a performance-based business. And those guys coming in really, really helped us. And just TJ's leadership just solidified kind of what we needed back there. And they played as good as anybody the last 2 months of the season.
Yeah, flesh it out a little bit more with TJ, Coach, because he's a legacy line, a 10-year guy, the torchbearer for Seattle DBs after RP, Ryan Phillips, your defensive backs coach. What did TJ mean, not just on the field, but in the building?
Well, I think it's just a matter of confidence and understanding what it's like. I mean, he's been around a long, long time. I mean, geez, he started as a rookie. I was still a head coach here when he started as a rookie. I said, "You're really old, TJ. Look at you." But it's just a level of confidence, a business-like attitude, and understanding how important every play and every practice is. And then after that, it's just being there before and having familiarity and knowing how to go about business. I told the story many, many times. Typically you want the players to take ownership of it and watch film on their own. Well, I hadn't done that all year. TJ shows up that week on day 3 when the day gets a little longer. I was at the point where, TJ's here. I feel good about the group. They're getting better all the time. I walked away and I let them watch the film and take ownership. And when that happens, you got something special. And since that happened 7-8 weeks ago, it's been really good.
You talked about what clicked for the defense as a whole. What clicked for Matthew Betts? What changed in his performance? Because he was just fine, and then he was Matthew Betts. What turned him back into Matthew Betts?
Yeah, he was more than just fine, Blake. But yeah, it exploded for him. I think it just became a little bit more familiar with the people around him. Early on, there was a couple of offenses and situations where he was just getting double and triple teamed, and I had him on the edge, and that's where he was. Moved him around a lot more. He felt better, kind of getting his reps down, meaning that not asking him to play all 60 reps of the game, and I think that helped him. But he's just so talented. He's just so dynamic, and it's like the great players know when it matters, and so the more he got closer and when it mattered, you see him making plays at the end of the game to finish the game against Toronto. And I've been blessed to be in this building. We've had some great ones that are on the wall, BJ and Cam and those guys, but to see a run, a stretch that he had, there's a reason it's never happened since they kept the stats since 1995, because he was just on fire, just staying strong, staying physical. Really, guys may peter out. He's just getting better.
And he's not the only one that went on a string of things. Mr. Finley there comes in, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm throwing this young kid into a pretty important position, last line of defense, and he just picks off, ball hawks everything. Like, you probably thought you had a good kid there. Did you think he could do this?
No, I mean, nobody's done this. I mean, GP's giving him a hard time and said, GP, shut up. How long did it take you to get 4 picks? More than a year. So, get off of the rookie. But, right from the beginning, just through the draft process, you see it, training camp, you see it. And I've told the story, and I think you guys talked about it on one of the broadcasts where, he's sitting there and he could draw all 12 players to detail, extremely intelligent. I could see why he wants to be a doctor. He has all the cerebral talent in the world. But when it comes to the game, it's not too big for him. Like, obviously the first 6-7 weeks, I wanted to get him acclimated. We used him as a dime, so he started to get some plays. I don't like throwing a young guy in there full bore. So he got a taste of playing a little bit. And then when he was required to stepped in beautifully. I mean, 4 games, 4 interceptions. The defense is winning, keeping the big explosive plays off the board, which is a huge tip of the hat to the free safety. And he's just got such a bright future. But, the streak's pretty damn good, and hopefully he can find one in the playoffs. But very talented player. A
couple of those were so timely too. Like, it was just when you needed them a couple of times too.
He had one in the red zone. And the other thing too about him, and people didn't know exactly what position to play, he'll lay the wood on you now. He'll play in the box, and there's some things we do with him with playing in the box and playing the run. So he's got a great lineage. When you talk about the 4th Finley in the generation to play CFL football, that's something special too, right? So I'm a historian, and I've been a lifer, and that kind of stuff is interesting. But he's a heck of a player.
I would like the record to show, Mike, that Blake asked 2 questions about the North Shore guy, and if he had gone to Handsworth, it would have been a 3rd question. All right?
Way to get in the way. Stop him before he gets to number 3.
Yeah, no, exactly. Mike, something extraordinary has happened this year. Like, I've been covering the CFL in 25 years, and I'm not sure I've ever seen this, because when you bring in guys in September, NFL camp guys who are still often have their headspace down south, more often than not, you're looking to get them primed for the next season. Like, you're looking at them as pieces for the subsequent year, not in the right now. And yet Levi Bell and Bradley and I, those two pass rushers you referenced earlier, seemingly have completely, transformed your defense in one way and stepped in and looked like CFL veterans despite having very little time in this league. What went on there, and have you seen anything quite similar to this?
Goodness, no. I mean, in 25 years that I've been blessed to be in this league, I remember one time it happened, and that was 2014. We brought an offensive tackle in that week that had to play that week, and unfortunately, Travis Lulay got hurt in Ottawa with that game. That's the only time I remember where a guy comes in and plays that week. We had that happen multitude of times. I mean, Levi comes in on Sunday. I meet him on Sunday. We're in Ottawa, and we're playing in Ottawa. And then it happens again with Bradley. And I've never experienced that. It's way too hard to do that to any athlete. Like, obviously, they're not even close to where they need to be. There's a lot of things that we can't do just yet, just because they're not experienced. I mean, when they see the fullback moving and the receivers moving, it's still kind of getting them a little bit. And the pass rush with the yard off. So they've been spectacular. They've had great coaching, Randy Melvin, and Matthew Betts has been right by their side, coaching them up. He's just matured so much, Matthew, as a leader and as a coach and all that kind of stuff. So those guys have had a huge impact on our group, but it doesn't happen for a reason. It's hard to do. And so even when there's some things going on in the game, they haven't seen it before. So they're just learning on the go, and no camp, no nothing. Outstanding additions from our recruiting department. Like, those guys are real talented guys, and they stepped in. It kind of happened. Like, I made the reference in 2011, we were sliding, right? But when we were able to bring in Kareem Smith, it changed things. And so if you could change things at the defensive line on defense, you got a chance. And so kind of similarity here with those two guys.
Talk to me about Robert Carter Jr., because holy cow, is he explosive. Like, has offense asked to use him at all, Mike? Like, may you have to share him at some point with how explosive he is with the ball in his hand?
Glad to do it. I mean, that guy is a heck of a talent. How he's not the rookie of the year is beyond me. But when you look at his ability, and just a young defensive back at 22 years old, it has so much to learn, and he's learned and gotten better all the time, and he's just unbelievable. I mean, just think of it. That interception that he had in the Hamilton game, that's going to go all time. I mean, but the crazy part is, though, he did the exact same thing in college. If you find it up and search it out. So he did the same thing in college, exact same way. His ability and his talent is off the charts. And then last week with the KOR, using him as a returner, his speed is phenomenal. So he's a great talent. The one thing interesting about him that, I like personalities. I mean, he's competitive now. Nobody's better than him. He's better than anybody else, and he's got that edge to him, which makes him a tremendous pro and talented dude, man. He's got a huge future for sure.
You've had it. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I remember Wally's line about Cam Wake, Mike, that I saw him rush once and said, enjoy your 2 years here. You'll be in the NFL. Like, I almost feel like that's the same with Robert. you see him make that pick, or you see him hit that guy in Edmonton, and you say to yourself, against Edmonton, you say to yourself, okay, we'll be watching him on Sunday soon.
I mean, I don't know if that will be the case or not based on who he is, but if he doesn't get looked at, he will now. Obviously, he's getting a lot of attention, interceptions. You're taking a look at, and sometimes, that's our blessing. They look at the typical size and fit, and it doesn't work or whatever. And then once they get exposed, they can make plays. I mean, a player's a player. So when you look at what he's got to offer, I just think at 22 years old, what he's able to do athletically is unbelievable. And when you talk about early on in camp, all of a sudden there's this little dude that gets added, and you're kind of, not thinking much about him. We kind of have other guys in mind, and he just showed up every single damn day, and he's making interceptions. And so we always tell guys, if you show up on film, you'll make the team in training camp, and he did. He makes plays all the time.
Let's talk about this week, because the offense woke up when they needed to, late to get that last drive together, but it was a lot of pressure on you guys. Vernon Adams was motivated last week, and you guys withstand the pressure. You survive, but you're going to be under a lot of pressure again. A savvy veteran group from Saskatchewan that now they've been sitting around playing exhibition games for the last few weeks. So I don't know if they can get their edge back, but what are you expecting?
Not expecting a big crowd and a group that's ready and willing to go. Trevor Harris is outstanding with his accuracy and how he plays the game and how fast the ball is out of his hands. So it's a different type of game. And obviously they want to run the football. They want to have that physical DNA with Aulette and what they do with the running game. So I expect a killer physical game. I see a game that's going to be a tight game, as most Western Finals are. Western Finals are not easy. It doesn't matter who's playing hot, who's playing not. But, this thing that I've always told guys, and I've told these guys in this room or in the building, been to 12 of these, and if you're coming with some momentum, if you're coming in winning the previous game, if you're coming in playing good football, the speed of the game is such that that has huge advantages. How many times have you seen a Western Division champ or someone with the home game sit there and get beat? It's a one and done, right? It's not 5 games. It's not 7 games. You got to play your best. You got to win the turnover battle, all the cliches. But I see a big time battle coming for us. And, the offense has had the 2 weeks it's had, and a lot of people make a lot of it. So I see an explosion on their side too. So, right now, when you look at how we're playing, last week, 10 points came from special teams. When you look at the defense, it was a 7-point first half. And then at the end, had to get them off the field twice in the red zone to make it 3s, not 7s. And then when they needed it with friggin' 24 seconds or whatever, the second time this year with 2 plays, including the Montreal game, they go ahead and get into Whitey, and then you need a field goal kicker. So if I'm sitting there looking at a team, as I get goosebumps, I think we're just fine. I don't care that we could be underdogs by 1 million. I don't care. I don't care how many people are in the stands. I love where our team is and excited for this is what we live for. These are the kind of games that are legendary that you remember. So excited, and I'm thrilled that we're at a place at the table with only 4 of us.
Hey, Benny, 12 degrees and rainy here during the practice week. Could be 25 degrees colder in Regina. Could be a little snow. There'll be some wind. What do you tell your players? What do you talk to your players about with regards to the dramatic difference in conditions that they'll face Saturday?
Basically, when you take it. Yeah, you look at the DNA, and every game has a different complexion and has an entirely different makeup, and it could be more of a run game, this game, the other game. But basically, it's a mentality, and I don't tell them. I look at the veterans. Hey, you played in this cold game. You played in that game. You played in this game. Adam Konar and I played in the Ottawa game with Edmonton in 2016. So, you talk to the players about the mentality and how they approach it. And a lot of these guys have played cold games. They got to play in it too. So really, it's between your ears. I mean, it could affect you in terms of snow, wind, and how it impacts your how you play a certain play, how you technically play the ball security and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, it's just a mentality and how you approach it. I mean, it's not cold.
Lastly, Benny, it's not the longest championship drought, but it is the longest drought between Grey Cup appearances. You and Ryan Phillips, unless I'm missing someone, the last links to that 2011 championship here at BC Place. You guys going to share your experiences, share your stories about what it would mean to win a Grey Cup for this franchise
Absolutely.
in this city?
No doubt about it. And I have the best man in the room to tell stories with RP. So I'll let RP tell those stories, and just you have to impart your knowledge in what happens. Even with the Western Final, asking the coaches and other guys that have been to Western Finals. I mean, Matthew Betts has been to 2. TJ's been to a couple. Like, you got to teach. People forget how many guys here are so young. You talked about the 2 defensive ends. Well, they're rookies. They have no idea what the Grey Cup is. They have no idea what the CFL is. But then you look at Jackson Finley, and you look at Mr. Carter Jr. Those 4 guys are the 4 guys we talked about. Those are starters, and those are rookies that don't know anything in terms of how that looks. And so we definitely have to teach them, give them a back story on the history of it. And it's been too long. I mean, the last time we were there, we won it. We got to go back again. And so that's our job to find a way to get there.
Benny, make sure you tell Whitey he was disappointed I didn't interview him when he went 1 for 1 a few weeks back. Tell him I would have interviewed him for that last game.
I will let him know. I guarantee you would have. Yeah.
He was hungry. He was hungry to be interviewed, I think.
Tell the story. You're working the sidelines, the game ends, and what does Whitey do?
There was no kicking game. I think he was 1 for 1 that day, and I'm looking for Nathan and Keon, and he comes over, he goes, "Where do you want me?" And I said, I looked outside, I said, "Whitey, come on."
He's a classic. He's been in this building since 2003. He is now 40 years old. He is now a father, and so he is he's a lot mature now, and he's ready. He's He's a special guy. He's a Hall of Famer with a comedic act. I think he was just playing with you.
Yeah,
no, I know.
as he always is.
Yeah.
As he always is. We love him to death. Where do we want you? We want you in Winnipeg next week. Good luck on Saturday, Coach. Appreciate this. Catch up soon.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Sickers and Price from the historic Wall Center and the Pacific Toyota Dealers Studio, built by Arbor Leach. You're louder when you're rested. Book your staycation here at the Wall, just minutes from the stadium and arena. Unlock that Sickers and Price rate. Call 604-331-1000. Mention us. Some blackout dates supply based on availability. Finishing up on the lines there, Blake, it is rather extraordinary that this turnaround on defense happens, as Benevides notes, with 4 rookies in the lineup.
Yeah.
You know, like it's one thing to bring in an uber vet like TJ Lee to, stabilize something, but to get 4 rookies contributing as Robert Carter Jr., Levi Bell, Bradley and I, and Jackson Finley of North Van are, that's just outstanding. Until Calgary scored 30 in the playoff game, it had been fewer than 30 in each game of that 6-game winning streak. 21, 24, 24, 22, 23, 27. I once had a wise defensive coordinator in the CFL when I was a young reporter tell me, kid, if you allow less than 28, you should win your fair share of games in this league. And, of course, if they go on to do something special in the Grey Cup, Nathan Rourke is going to get tons of accolades because he's a Canadian quarterback. And he'll be the first Canadian quarterback to lead his team to a Grey Cup championship since Russ Jackson in 1969, Blake. So think of that.
Bonkers.
But the defense turning 5-7 into 11-7 and a 9-game winning streak, well, that should be the subhead, I think, on the BC Lions Grey Cup win. Again, we're getting ahead of ourselves, but we're daring to dream here because a West final and 7 in a row, well, allows you to dream.
What I love about what has happened to the Lions and the Whitecaps, I'll group them together here, is both of them got punched in the mouth without it costing them. So there was that Stamps win was a warning shot. Like, they got through it, but they needed some heroics. After all that great defensive play, there was a little bit of a speed wobble, and hey, it's Vernon Adams. He makes some magic happen. When he is on, he is on. So it's explainable. But it was a warning shot. It's like, this is where your imperfections lie. Careful, hone this going into the next one. Same thing with the Whitecaps. Like, both of these teams were on such heaters.
Yep.
You kind of forget where your weaknesses are. And there was some reminders there. And I love that for both of them because now they both have something to work on. When you're winning everything, you forget what you're not awesome at. Mm-hmm. And not awesome might be, hey, in this category, you're 7 out of 10. But if you get it to 8 out of 10, you're not losing. So just those little things, and I love that for both of them, that they both can strive now and still have the swagger. You got the win. You're not losing swagger, but you're humble too, and it's perfect.
Fine lines. Riders reported yesterday that less than 1,000 tickets remain for Saturday's West Final. So a sellout of 34,000 plus is in the offing here. Saskatchewan getting healthier as well. Keyshawn Johnson, one of 2 1,000-yard receivers, practiced yesterday after missing day 1 and reigning most outstanding defensive player, league most outstanding defensive player, Roland Milligan, is back to full practice after being limited earlier in the week. A stunner in the CFL yesterday as Ryan Dinwiddie moves from head coach of the Toronto Argonauts to head coach and GM of the Ottawa Red Black, the Wally role there, with the existing general manager Sean Burke moving to VP of football operations. There's now a lot of buzz around Michael O'Shea, the Bombers head coach, maybe going back home to the Toronto Argonauts where he has long history and is a close friend with their GM, Michael Pinball Clemens. You get in a room with Pinball. Are you allowed to say no? Is it possible that you could say no to Pinball after he charms you with that $1 million?
I'd like to take all your wallets.
Yes,
Can I have your wallet? Yeah, sure. No problem. You'd give it right out of your pocket.
I know.
So charming.
The year I covered the Argos, it was just when Pinball showed up on the sidelines at practice, the vibe just changed instantly for everybody. He's one of the Trevor Linden has that gift too. He's just got a way he's got an infectiousness that just brings people.
And you know what's a
up
lesson for both of these
instantaneously.
examples that you just brought up for Lyndon and neither one of them is loud.
No.
Neither one of them is terribly gregarious.
Well,
I wouldn't call
Michael's,
them.
yeah, Michael certainly can be gregarious. You can hear Pinner sometimes before you see him.
He's positive. He's bubbly. He is optimistic and all that. But I still wouldn't call him loud.
Okay.
You know, he often speaks in that hushed tone almost.
That he does. He's almost got like the Stephen A.
I was just going to say, there's a little bit of Stephen A. there.
The other thing about Pinball, people who know him and the poor people who have to handle him, like his PR people and whatnot, Blake, he is late for just about every engagement he has ever booked.
No one cares, though.
No, but here's the reason why. Everybody recognizes him, and he's got time for everybody. So, like when he's going into work, if he stops at the gas station, the guy at the counter is going to be like, that's Pinball Clemens. And the next thing you know, it's 5-10 minutes speaking with that guy. Oh, wow. It turns out I'm late for this football ops meeting. He was late to a Grey Cup coach's press conference once. We're all sitting there looking at our watches going, Wally too, going, where's Pinball?
As a guy that didn't grow up as an Eskimo then or Argo fan, I do remember at this time of year being extra worried about Pinball and Gizmo.
Oh, for sure.
Two guys that in any moment could turn a nothing play into a something play. Playoff time, those
Absolutely.
guys. Oh,
and the special teams game amplified usually in the playoffs, especially if you're playing in poor weather games where it's difficult to march the ball down the field or hit the big play in the passing game. Put Speedy Banks on that list too. Of course, could have won a Grey Cup here at BC Place had there not been a clip on that punt return touchdown against Calgary. Tragic news from the National Football League, where 24-year-old Dallas defensive lineman Marshawn Nealon dies this morning after a police pursuit and a self-inflicted gunshot wound. He recovered a punt for a touchdown on Monday Night Football against Arizona, his career highlight, needless to say. His second season, he was a second-round pick with an extremely bright future. There was a police pursuit. He evaded police in suburban Dallas last night. And then there was word that he was talking about taking his own life. Police had to search with canine units and drones and then ultimately found him with a gunshot wound. Just awful, awful news. I mean, can you imagine how many people reach out to you after scoring a touchdown on a nationally televised standalone Monday Night Football game?
yeah.
I'm going to guess he heard from just about everybody in his orbit. Now, they lose the game, but wow. I mean, awful, awful stuff. Seahawks host those same Cardinals this weekend. Cornerback Josh Jobe has been sidelined at practice with a concussion. Wide receiver Cooper Kupp also not practicing. Debut of new receiver Rashid Shaheed, acquired from the New Orleans Saints Tuesday on NFL trade deadline day. This from the Ringer's Danny Kelly. Sam Darnold already first in deep passing yards and explosive pass rate this year. Getting Shaheed a nice bonus and gives Seattle more options on vertical throws. Incidentally, that explosive pass rate is the best in 24 years since the Kurt Warner-led L.A. Rams. Good for Darnold. We're halfway through.
We're halfway through. Yeah.
It's going to be more difficult to maintain that, particularly when you're playing cold weather games, nasty weather games going forward.
Plus, special teams are not a big thing in the NFL anymore, but their special teams could be pretty darn good with him and Horton, who have both been dangerous, right?
Yeah.
Like the return game is not a big piece, but
we'll see if we use them there.
Yeah, no, they said they will.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I missed that.
Yep.
And our intern Hayden, who's going to join us here in a second, also mentioned to us JSN leading the Seahawks in receiving yards by more than 600. So, needless to say, having another guy
a number two
in that mix, is appropriate. Whitecaps approaching 50,000 tickets sold for their Western Conference semifinal against LAFC on November 22nd. So this game is going to sell out. There's no.
As we speak, it's effectively it's sold out for all intents and purposes as we speak. There's holds everywhere. These holds are going to be taken away soon, so there will be tickets available to get us up to officially sold at 52.5 or whatever it is.
They've been releasing tickets drip by drip here.
But if you check Ticketmaster at any given moment, you might find 0 tickets available, but just have some patience. There will be some more coming.
Let me ask you this, and I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but the Whitecaps tarp certain sections of the lower bowl of BC Place. The Lions do not. Is there any, do you know whether they're going to take the tarps off and make those seats available?
There's a couple of, I think I was told that there's a couple of that are actually there for a reason, but I think any that were there just as decorative and to sort of fill the gaps, I think all those will be coming off, yes.
I sure hope so. Yeah. Let's get as many people in there as possible to experience this fantastic event. Jesper Sorensen is robbed. Caps manager does not win MLS Coach of the Year. It goes to Philadelphia's Bradley Carnell. The Union finished with 20 wins and 6 draws, 66 points to Vancouver's 8 wins and 9 draws.
How'd they do against Vancouver?
They were 3 points better. They lost going away, Blake.
Yeah, did they?
Yeah.
By a touchdown?
By a touchdown, converted touchdown.
Isn't that the tiebreaker for this darn thing? It was.
But and of course the Union won the Supporter Shield, but you mentioned this to me a few weeks ago when I said should be a lock for Coach of the Year. You said, no, watch out. Carnell and Philadelphia will get some love.
Yeah, I mean, Philly.
Were they coming from a further far place?
Well, Philadelphia is a great program. Everybody loves the Union program. They develop, but they were seen as having a setback last year. Made the coaching change, and he restored the luster. Eastern coach versus a Western coach. I think there's a tiebreaker there, just from familiarity. People are going to be more exposed to that. And to be fair, there might be more depth of talent. There might be more good teams, if not more great teams. There might be more good teams in the East. So the quality of the wins there on the whole might be better. But again, the head-to-head matchup sort of speaks for itself. 7-0 Whitecaps.
Yeah. The roster has been named for the Canadian men's national team for this next international window. We're going to get into some of the so first of all, Canada faces Ecuador a week from today at BMO Field in Toronto. And then they're up against Venezuela a week from Tuesday at Chase Stadium in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. The Ecuadorian cap. Is he going to be playing in that game?
I don't think he got the call.
Oh, okay.
Well, there was no Ecuadorian. No, you're thinking of Pedro Vite. We always get this mixed up. Ocampo's Colombian.
That's right. Yeah. Ali Ahmed, Jaden Nelson from the Caps. They make the squad. Ex-Caps. Theo Bear. Nice to see Theo there. Always enjoy our interactions with Theo.
Yep.
Derek Cornelius, Max Crepeau, Richie Larea, Junior Hoylett also on this team. Burnaby's Nico Segur, Surrey's Joel Waterman also feature. No Jacob Schaffelberg, the hero of the Copa. No Luc de Fougerolles, both of whom are nursing injury, according to head coach Jesse Marsh. And there's a new goalkeeper in the mix. And this is interesting.
2 new players.
2 new goalkeepers?
Nope, 2 new players. You start with the goalie.
Okay. His name is Owen Goodman. And he's been selected here instead of James Pantemis, the Portland Timbers starter, and Tom McGill of EPL side Brighton and Hove. Goodman is with League One side Huddersfield Town in England, but he's on loan from EPL side Crystal Palace, and he's even played games with the England U20 team.
Yep.
He's 6'4", so there's some pretty good pedigree and club affiliation here, Blake. Who's the new...
Well, not on the list, but in camp is 22-year-old Marcelo Flores, born in Ontario and raised there for a good portion of his life before moving to Mexico. Plays for Tigres in Liga MX. Was a Mexican youth international. Has been capped 3 times for El Tri, the senior team. But the FIFA rule is you are allowed up to 3 caps, and if they are all occurring under the age of 21, you can change once. He is in camp. He's going to sample training with Jesse Marsh, and if he likes what he sees, will switch affiliations to Canada. He's an attacking midfielder, can play on the wing if you need him to as well. very talented player. If he's getting 3 caps, Matt, with El Tree before the age of 21, I think that speaks to the quality of player that Marcelo Flores is. So
now, I saw this a couple of days ago when it was rumored. I also saw some voyageurs, some Canadian soccer faithful, who noted, did he have like an on-pitch incident with a teammate that got ugly once?
I don't recall that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will look that up. Maybe Ease knows tomorrow. And we doubted him, but we shouldn't. We should have learned not to doubt him. Sebastian Berhalter gets the call for the United States team.
Good for him.
He was more a long list guy for Team USA. Of course, his father used to coach this team. But no, he had a sensational season, MLS Best 11, and here he is on the USA squad.
Well, big reason for my logic there was they had a lot of middling results and finally enjoyed a little bit of success last window by going with a way more European-based U.S. team. And I thought that maybe that would be telling Pochettino to, I'm going to stick with the European guys. I'm going to go with those guys. But Seb gets in. It's fabulous.
Well, and Seb also played really well for that U.S. team.
Especially in the Gold Cup, yeah.
He was their best player that one match.
Yeah.
Big rumblings out of Seattle, where ESPN's Buster Olney reports the Mariners are expected to be a bidder for Detroit starting pitcher Tarek Skubal, who played collegiately at Seattle University, which has got to be the most off-the-beaten-track NCAA baseball program to have, like, the game's ace come from. Detroit is expected to trade Skubal this winter. We might be influenced by Yamamoto, but I think most people would tell you the Skubal's the best pitcher in the game. He's in the final year of his contract. There's an outside chance he could be baseball's first $500 million pitcher, get the Vladdy contract or something like that. He's going to be at least $300 million, if not $400 million. Now, this would be an all eggs in next year's basket move from Jerry DiPoto and M's management, but their window here could well be closing with those 5 terrific starting pitchers because Logan Gilbert, George Kirby, Bryce Miller, and Brian Wu have been relatively cost-controlled as young guys. They're about to get very expensive, and it would be likely one of those 4 guys or Luis Castillo, the one expensive starter they have, going to Detroit as part of a package. The Mariners have one of baseball's best farm systems. Now, so does Detroit, and Detroit is loaded with middle infield prospects, so the type of profile of top prospect that you normally move in these sorts of deals, Detroit may have designs on a different guy at a different position. But the M's do have the player capital to make this deal happen if they want. Now, I don't think they have the financial wherewithal to re-sign Skubal. DiPoto said yesterday he anticipates payroll will be about the same as it was this past year after they made the trades and added Josh Naylor in particular. The flip side for the M's, stay away. Understand you'll have to trade one of your cheap starters after next year. Don't gut the farm system. Re-sign Josh Naylor and run it back.
I think that's the play. I think they've got to take a lesson. Now, they have a smaller constituency than the Jays, obviously, who have a country. But I think the lesson is a middle market like the Seattle will still make a lot of money with a long playoff run. If they can run it back and this time maybe make it to the dance, make it to the World Series.
Yeah, because, of course, Toronto got 4 home games in the World Series.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. If you can run it back, have a great season, make it to the World Series, you set yourself up then for the ability to pay for some of these guys the following year. So I think you got to go chips in. This team
chips in on Skubal or chips in without
chips in on running it back with all of your guys.
I'm with you.
You're losing some trade leverage with those guys, but I think you go chips in that regard. With your guys, run it back and see if you can win a World Series.
Because the other thing you can do is you can go out and make another deadline splash, right?
Yeah.
If need be. You can see where your team is at through the first 4 months and then say, okay, here's what we need. And he did that this year, and he was spot on.
And Naylor's going to get paid, but he's not going to be a $20 million guy, is he? I don't think he's got that
I
resume.
mean, the way baseball salaries are
I know,
going,
you're right.
like,
It's impossible to keep up.
I will look up the Naylor projections for tomorrow's show, but yeah,
Hey, I like that guy a lot. He doesn't feel like a $20 million player to me, but okay.
yeah, but I think we're going to be adjusting what a $20 million player looks like going
Like
forward.
a $5 million forward in the
Baseball
NHL.
had a hell of a year. Attendance was up. That World Series was a banger, the best in 30 years.
Remember when Bronson Arroyo got like 8 or 12 million? We were like, what?
You're like the number 4 starter on the Red Sox is getting paid more than any hockey player on the planet.
Yeah.
The M's made a small move yesterday. They traded for relief pitcher Cole Wilcox from Tampa. This was once a highly rated prospect at the University of Georgia alongside Emerson Hancock, their current pitcher, who was the 6th overall pick in 2020. As for the Jays, well, they extended a qualifying offer to Bo Bichette today. Very charming.
Quaint.
Good process.
Yes.
Zero chance in hell that he accepts it. This ain't a Shane Bieber situation.
Also, though, free laundry at a Young Street laundromat and all you can eat at Tim Hortons.
That's right. You can do these side deals. So It's not like Ballmer in the NBA. You don't have the hard cap. So obviously their offseason pivots on what Bo Bichette decides to do. Joining us now is our intern Hayden Stewart from BCIT. He's been with us for the last 3 weeks. Big Jays fan. Have you recovered yet?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, obviously after the game, you're not in a very good place. But after thinking about it, going from 74 wins last season to 94 and going to Game 7 in the World Series this season, you have to take away the positives and look at, the guys who stepped up. Obviously, Vladdy in the playoffs, but the whole lineup too. So sadness at the start, but now I'm excited looking forward.
There's obviously contract questions for this team, but do you think the atmosphere that they have projected and that the players have backed up now on social media, the likes of Scherzer and Bieber, is there an if you build it, they will come here? Where do they attract free agents now? Are they a destination? The Dodgers are a destination. People want to go play for the Dodgers. Is there a chance that the Jays could be that, do you think?
That's a tough one. I mean,
it's that strange country, right? It's funny money.
The one thing, it's a different country. Taxes, they always play a factor in where players want to go. But
happiness too, right?
Yeah, you see.
And winning.
Well, guys, there was a survey of baseball players before the season done by The Athletic that were asked them for their favorite cities to visit, and Toronto ranked number 3.
Yeah.
And
visit.
So there is the big caveat, to visit. The thing the players liked about it the most was that it was a walkable city.
Yeah.
And remember, Blake, some of these American downtowns, right, are not exactly
LA.
places you want to be walking around, particularly if you have some money or are notable. And then one of the players said, let me promise you that more and more guys will say Toronto. And he said and he said veterans will know. He basically made the case that, like, once you get in the league, you get your feet wet, you know the loop a little bit, Toronto starts to grow on them more and more as a city. Now, I don't think Hayden is wrong. Funny money, a lot of taxes, can't get Count Chocula, Captain Crunch, or whatever the cereals were that the Grizzlies.
Who was the Jays knuckleballer? Like
R.A. Dickey?
R.A. Dickey. I think he wasn't him that used to take the GO train though to games.
There's a bunch of them that take the TTC and the GO train.
Like you are stars there, but you can also also fade in a little bit.
Well, this year's team, I'm not sure can blend in as much. Okay, so where are you on Bichette, Hayden? What do you think?
I love him.
Who doesn't? I love him.
I mean, I saw he missed, I think, 20-something games this season and was only 3 off of the league lead, I think.
And hits.
And so he brings something to the lineup that a lot of players can't. And with Vladdy in the lineup, wherever you put Bo, it causes pitchers to think, do I want to, pitch to Bo? Do I want to pitch to Vlad? Do I have to pitch to both? Do I pitch to none? So having him and his ability to put the bat on the ball, and he also has some sneaky power.
Yep.
He has the ability to hit over 20 home runs. He hits a lot of doubles. So I think the main priority for the Jays is for sure bringing Bo Bichette
What do you
back.
think the pull is for him? What's taking him away from the Jays? The bread lights? Do you want to be in a big U.S. market, you think?
I don't know. It's just
Like, that's what I'm unclear about. Like, I think the Jays will pay him.
oh yeah.
So
I do wonder whether the personality, image, everything that Vladdy is for that franchise, that he's in the shadow. But Hayden makes a good point, because lest we forget, we were also
Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman,
I know. I know. But
Shohei.
we were also dazzled by Vladdy's postseason. But in the regular season, that was a much bigger calculation for teams in terms of who you want to pitch to, right? Because Vladdy did not exactly have a banger. He did not carry the team all season long. Like,
No.
I think there were as many teams out there in the regular season when, okay, Vladdy's got a little more power, but Bo is probably, as dangerous as just a bat to ball hitter.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Lastly, Hayden, Tarek Skubal. There's a big Tarek Skubal trade to be made, knowing you'll probably only get 1 year of him. Would you go there?
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
No, I don't. You trade away your future. And right now, the Blue Jays, obviously, they're in win now mode. But if you trade for Skubal and you want to extend him, that prohibits you from, probably extending guys like Barger, Clement, Savage,
Kirk,
David
yep.
Schneider.
Yep.
So I don't think it's the right move for the Jays. Obviously, Skubal can bring you 30 quality starts where he puts you in a position to win 25 of those. But if the Jays want to be competitive for a while, I don't think Skubal is the right answer.
Yeah, I'm with you in that. Honestly, there's only like a few teams in the league where Skubal makes sense on an extension, right? It's like the Dodgers, it's the Yankees, it's the Mets. Maybe it's a Red Sox or someone like that, but who's got that sort of money to be able to put into remember, this is a starter. He's pitching one every 5 games. Like, it's not like giving Soto the bag or Soto
every day
or
for
Guerrero the bag. So, and of course, like the Yankees give Garrett Cole all that money. He misses the entire season, right? The Yankees can afford to swallow that. Most teams
Is Skubal
can't.
Yamamoto good, do you think?
Well, again, Blake, what I saw from Yamamoto this postseason, like, there are very few. I mean, Hershiser wasn't that good in the regular season. Don't get me wrong, he was sensational in the regular season, but he got to a next level in that 88 playoffs. Baumgartner got to a next level in that Giants World Series run. Yamamoto did the same.
It's
but
inhuman.
in the regular season, I think there's a very good case to take Skubal with what he's done. Thanks for this, buddy. Thanks for the last 3 weeks. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for having me.
That's Hayden Stewart, our intern from BCIT. We always put our interns work hard here over several weeks. Love to give them a reward of being on the program. Last bit of business here, or penultimate bit of business. It's the Redwoods Golf Course poll question results. This from Wednesday. Will Connor Bedard come home and be a Canuck one day? People said, Blake.
Yes.
Percentage?
70.
64. Jerry, they never do. Wanted Sakic to do that his whole career. Yeah, we mentioned Sakic yesterday. Korea too. Gord, yes, might be in the latter years. He says athletes who want to play for their hometown team at some point get to in the modern era. The key is whether they want to, and we had that discussion as well yesterday. And Suffering Canucks fan says nice things don't happen for the Canucks.
If they were 10-7 right now, I don't know that he says that, but at 8-9, I get why he's typing that.
No E's and O's from yesterday. So thanks for joining us, everybody. Appreciate you spending some time connecting with the program. Please do subscribe to all our assorted channels, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcast. Follow on social, X, Insta, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Blue Sky, live on many of those platforms, noon Pacific time weekdays. And, of course, support the community sponsors you hear us talking about and keep it local.